Welcome back to the news show, where earthquakes hit twice in New Jersey and locals are begging one man, "Sir, please get off the trampoline." Yesterday, President Trump joked that he's ready to install nuclear missiles on the White House roof. And honestly, why not? That roof already survived 4 years of political nuclear waste. Might as well add the real thing. Meanwhile, some guy just dropped $10 million on an original 1,984 Birkin bag. Yup, 10 million. He now holds the record for spending the most money ever on something that smells like 1,982nd gum and regret. Trump also wondered if Jasmine Crockett is related to Davy Crockett. I mean, it kind of tracks. One fought at the Alamo. The other should be working at Alamo Car Rental. Michelle Obama wished Barack a happy 64th birthday, calling him the coolest guy I know. To which Barack replied, "Right back at you." Romance is alive, folks. A new study says running after dinner can help with erectile dysfunction, especially if you're running from a naked man wearing nothing but a black mask and sneakers. Nothing boosts testosterone like pure terror. Oh, and remember Grimace from McDonald's? Turns out, he's not a giant purple butt plug for Ronald McDonald, as some theorized. He's actually a taste bud. That explains the color. Also, explains why he's always smiling. I guess taste buds are into weird stuff. Anyway, a zoo in Denmark is now asking people to donate their pets to feed them to the carnivores. Yep. Don't want your hamster anymore? Toss it to the tigers. Honestly, that's also how some television networks handle interns. Now for some personal news. I was off yesterday getting a colonoscopy. Strangely, an unusual number of med students signed up to watch. Apparently, my lower intestines are trending. The good news? I got a clean bill of health and a free video of the procedure. Want to see it? No? Good. I didn't want to show it either. But they did find my old television remote in there, so win-win. The inside of my body is cleaner than the current state of our media. Let's be honest, the media now makes news the way Hollywood makes movies. Movies have scripts. So does the news. Movies have actors. So does the news. Movies use CGI to make dinosaurs look real. The media uses drama to make politicians look human. And their latest blockbuster? Gerrymandering. That's when political parties redraw voting maps to gain more power. It's as old as selling horse meat to orphanages, which, fun fact, is how I got my second vote. So, recently when Texas Republicans proposed a new voting map, Democrats literally fled the state to stop it. And right on cue, the media shouted, "They're destroying democracy! They're rigging the system! Donald Trump is back and he's stealing the election again!" But hold up, let's rewind. The Democrats were the OGs of gerrymandering. Texas is just playing catch-up. In Illinois, Republicans only hold 3 out of 17 seats, yet Trump got over 43% of the vote there. Massachusetts, 36% voted red. All 9 House seats went blue. California, Harris got 62%, but only 9 out of 52 seats are Republican. And don't forget, Democrats tried to make DC a state, hack the courts, and delete the Electoral College. And what's their main weapon? Language. They use sweet, vague phrases to distract you. Sex change becomes gender-affirming care. Illegal immigrants become undocumented and BR. Criminal justice reform means letting criminals go. Anti-racism often means racism, just reversed. They turn horrible policies into beautiful poetry so you don't realize you're being bamboozled. So if you're confused about gerrymandering, that's okay. You don't have to be an expert on voting maps. You just have to be an expert in not trusting the media. Because every time they cover a story, they twist it like a balloon animal at a kid's party. Not to inform you, but to push a narrative, settle a score, or protect someone they like. Let's be real. Journalists often know less about the topic than you do. Back when I worked at Men's Health, I could always tell when a six-pack abs article was total BS. Spoiler alert, you can't get rock-hard abs unless you're me. Now apply that same logic to everything. Climate, crime, economy, politics, all the headlines flunk the expert test. You're not dumb. They just think you are. Let's talk about the panel, and I gotta say, this lineup is wild. First up, we've got a guy who looks like he sells exotic animals out of a van behind a gas station comedian Rich Voss. Then there's Julie Banderas, who wrote a children's book, which is kind of like saying Jeffrey Dahmer published a cookbook. No offense. It's just unexpected. Then there's Kat Timpf, who apparently cured cancer by trash-talking her exes. Amazing. Science should take notes. And finally, Tyrus, the man who's on every grandma's bucket list. That's not a compliment, that's a fact. Anyway, we start off strong. Rich, buddy, you look like you just came from a dog-fighting ring that ended in a tie. But it turns out, he works at a barber shop that makes him wear that shirt. Which explains why he owns 3 of the exact same ugly shirt. Hey, at least he's consistent, just like his wife. Same one every day. Now, back to our topic, gerrymandering. Rich proudly admits he knows absolutely nothing about it, which makes him equally qualified to run for Congress, if you think about it. But what did he think of my opening monologue? Apparently, those were some of the best jokes he's ever heard me do, which is high praise from a guy who sells cigars and incense out of his trunk. Then we swing over to Julie, who reminds us that respect is missing in America. Her book is all about teaching kids respect, which is funny because she admits she barely respects anyone. Hey, at least she's self-aware. Anyway, she uses the topic to go after Jasmine Crockett, who's mad that redistricting might make her lose her seat. Julie says, well, maybe she should lose it. Apparently, some of these congresswomen don't even live in the districts they represent, which sounds sketchy until you realize that's kind of normal now. It's like ordering a pizza to your neighbor's house and calling it home delivery. Then we get into this brilliant moment of chaos. Why don't both parties just gerrymander the whole country like it's a messy kindergarten art project? They're already doing it. So take off the gloves, grab some crayons, and start redrawing. Kat points out that gerrymandering is one of those issues that's too boring to care about, until someone screams, "This is the end of democracy!" But then you look at Massachusetts, they have 0 Republicans in Congress. 0? And people are surprised? Kat says, I didn't know that because I have a job, a kid, a life, and pets. Fair enough. Greg agrees. We work in media. We don't know anything either. Comforting. That's exactly what you want to hear from the people giving you the news. Then there's a tender moment. Someone says Greg had a colonoscopy recently and it made him brave. Greg agrees. He is the bravest man on this panel. Tyrus quickly shuts that down. Under no circumstances will I ever call you brave. But he does feel bad for gerrymandering. You know, the guy this whole thing is named after. Poor Jerry just wanted to draw fair maps, and now his name is forever tied to political trickery. Then Tyrus breaks down the real numbers in Texas. Democrats control 79% of the districts. The new map would reduce that to 74%. That's what they're crying about, a 5% shift. So he says this whole meltdown is a backfire. People weren't even paying attention to this until now. Now they're starting to look at places like Massachusetts and say, wait a second, how did this happen? Turns out, it's been happening. We just weren't paying attention because Netflix exists. Tyrus ends strong. Even if you lose the vote or lose the argument, you're supposed to stay and fight, not flee the state and call yourself a hero. And on that noble patriotic note, we go to commercial. Because nothing says land of the free like a message from our sponsor about foot fungus. Let's pick up where we left off and it only gets weirder. Trump's back in the spotlight. He was spotted standing on the roof of the White House. And the press? Oh, they lost their minds. Reporters were screaming from below like it was a hostage situation. Mr. President, what are you doing up there? Sir, are you okay? Are you building something? Is the rose garden still rosy? Trump, as chill as ever, just waved and basically said, I'm just up here spending my own money for the country. And to be fair, yeah, he really does pay for a lot himself. Ballroom renovations? His money. New rose garden? His money. Roof upgrades? Probably a putting green and a BBQ pit up there too again. His money. Honestly, maybe he just wanted to be the highest guy at the White House. Even higher than Hunter Biden. Later, Trump called into CNBC and went full Trump mode. The Democrat Party is self-destructing. Crockett? Low IQ, total disaster. Is she related to Davy Crockett? A great gentleman. Sir, please, enough with the Crockett bit. We get it. Then he took a jab at the governor of Illinois, calling him probably the dumbest of all governors, and saying his own family kicked him out of the business. Someone else joked, yeah, because he ate all the other sheep. This show is chaos, and I'm loving every second. Then the host asks about poll numbers. Mr. Trump, do you have the best poll numbers ever? Trump today. Yes, best I've ever had. Ever. Amazing poll numbers. Among Republicans. 94%, maybe 95%. Everyone loves tariffs. Which, okay, sure. Then the big question. Will you run again? Trump today. Probably not. Which is politician speak for definitely maybe yes. Unless I say no later. Unless I change my mind. Which I won't until I do. The media, of course, tried to twist this whole Trump on the roof thing into a conspiracy. He's distracting us from something. He's covering up a scandal. He found Clinton's old underwear up there. Meanwhile, Trump's just shouting from the top of the White House, "Hey Peter, I can see you from here." Someone joked that he probably found Hunter's old bong or maybe a tennis ball from 1996. Someone else said he's confusing the roof with the couch. Honestly, I'm not even sure anymore. This show might be a fever dream. Kat jumps in with a fair point. Of all the things Trump's done, has he ever said, "I can't talk right now"? Number, even from the roof, he's doing press interviews. This man could be on the moon and still take a call just to tell you how great his approval rating is. Then comes my favorite analogy. Trump doing home upgrades with his own money is like that one neighbor who buys a new riding mower, cranks up the engine, and casually mows the lawn while staring at you like, "Oh, you still push? That's cute." He's showing off, but in a way that highlights how broken the system is. If it were a government-funded project, the roof wouldn't be finished until 2032, cost 5 times more, and fall apart in the rain. But Trump builds it fast, with his own money, and suddenly, the feds look like clowns. Also, let's be honest, he decorates like a gay millionaire from Miami. Gold toilets, marble everything, say what you want, his taste is dramatic and fabulous. Honestly, based on the way he builds, I'm surprised he doesn't already have the gay vote. Oh, and one more fun fact. Trump also said he wants to put nuclear missiles on the roof. And the Democrats replied, "Okay, but you have to power them with solar panels." Now that's bipartisan comedy A+. Let's wrap this up with the most insane news segment of the night. First up, a guy known as Big Balls. No, seriously, that's his nickname. He's 19 years old, and he was brutally beaten in DC while trying to protect a woman from a gang of thugs trying to carjack her. Heroic? Absolutely. Smart? Questionable. But brave? Definitely. Now me, if someone tried to steal my car, I'd be like, "Do you want me to hold the door for you? Should I adjust the seat? Want me to Bluetooth your Spotify?" That's just self-preservation. Cat Timp said it best. That kind of courage, that's a whole different breed of human. Most people would run. He stayed and fought, and got his face stomped in for it. But if you asked him whether he'd do it again, he'd probably say, "Yeah, I'd just duck next time." Tyrus jumps in with something powerful. Being a man today means being told to sit down and shut up. But when men don't stand up, women are the ones who suffer, because when bad men attack, only good men can stop them. He goes full gladiator with this speech, saying, "A soldier dies once, a coward dies a million deaths." And this young man should not be called Big Balls like it's a meme. He should be called by name, remembered, honored. Everyone on set just kind of paused. Because dang, the man dropped the mic. Then someone tried to follow that up with, "Well, I saved a kitten from a bush the other day." Look, man, you tried. And of course they joked that he got a scratch saving the kitten. And now he needs to touch up his tattoo because the color's faded. Now let's talk consequences. Julie Banderas said that 10 kids who beat up that hero, they're juveniles, but they should be treated as adults. This country's too soft on repeat offenders. They know they'll get out and come back. If you're old enough to jump someone and leave him half dead, you're old enough for real punishment. Solid point. And honestly, a lot of people agree. Now, you think that was wild? Let's crank it up a notch. A zoo in Denmark has asked people to donate their unwanted pets to feed to zoo animals. That's right. Hey, don't want your guinea pig anymore? Cool. Our lion's hungry. And don't worry, they'll euthanize the animals first, because that makes it better. Somehow. This turned into the weirdest therapy session ever. Rich Voss says he has a stray kitten living on his porch, but doesn't want to keep it. His wife called and said, "I pet the kitty." And he responded, "Did you have an orgasm?" Cue the audience collectively dying inside. Meanwhile, Julie tries to salvage the moment by saying, "This is cruel. I mean, the only rat I donate to a zoo is the one I used to be married to." Then Tyrus brings it home with logic. If a zoo can't feed its animals, that means it's out of money. And if it's out of money, shut it down. Don't ask people to sacrifice their hamsters. Then someone asks Kat if she ever let her pets kill other animals. And she goes, "No, but my cat Jeans used to do it for me." Classic. She says one time Jeans brought home a dead mouse like a romantic offering and she didn't eat it. Now he's probably sitting in a corner, all sad, like, "I killed for you and you didn't even taste it." Tragic. And finally, we end on a segment about Lizzo. She dropped a new song where she raps, "Give me space, it's too hot in here, sweating through my lace, trunk full of Ace, Waffle House, Denny's, Grand Slam, panties." Greg immediately loses it. He says, she just listed 12 heart attack causing restaurants in one verse. Also, Ozempic's clearly not working. Then Banderas roasts a progressive political scientist who criticized actress Sydney Sweeney, called her a butterface, which apparently means good body, but her face. Banderas shoots back with, "That critic needs to stop eating sticks of butter by the pound." Turns out, Sweeney did the ad to raise money for domestic violence victims, but nobody's talking about that. Because people are too busy being mad that a blonde woman in jeans looks attractive. Kat sums it up. "You know what this is? It's not about politics. It's look envy. Fat women are angry, and I'm allowed to say that I've been both." She says during the Biden years, all these activist types were being called brave for showing up on television in crop tops. But now, America's like, "Nah, you're not brave. You're just out of breath." Greg jokes, "Honestly, I don't think Sydney Sweeney is that hot. She's just young, fit, and wearing jeans." And that's enough to set the internet on fire now. We close the show with a debate over whether people should donate pets to zoos. Someone brings up Richard Gere, don't Google it. And someone else says they once found a television remote in their colon. Don't ask. Just hit subscribe.